Have you ever stopped to wonder if some of the most common medical tests recommended after age 70 might actually be putting your health at risk instead of protecting it? It sounds shocking, but recent research shows that up to 37% of medical exams performed on older adults in the US are completely unnecessary. Even worse, as many as 1 in 20 cancer cases in seniors may be linked to overexposure to radiation from routine tests. We've grown up in a healthcare culture that says the more tests, the better. More is safe, more is smart. But what if the truth is the exact opposite? Frequent screenings can create a false sense of security and even lead to complications no one saw coming. In this video, we're going to walk you through 5 medical exams you should think twice about after turning 70. This isn't fear-mongering, it's evidence-based and backed by emotional real-life stories of people who trusted the system and paid the price. And before we get started, if you care about protecting your health and avoiding outdated or harmful medical advice, hit the red subscribe button now. Sometimes a single choice can prevent lifelong consequences for you or someone you love. 5. Bone density scan, DEXA. The bone density test, also called the DEXA scan, is often pushed as a must-have for seniors to prevent osteoporosis. But here's what most people don't hear. It could actually be a hidden danger. While the radiation dose is low, repeated exposure over years can accumulate in your body, quietly increasing the risk of developing certain cancers, especially thyroid cancer. Take Marianne, age 72, from Milwaukee. For over 10 years, she got annual DEXA scans, thinking she was doing everything right. Then, out of nowhere, came the devastating diagnosis: thyroid cancer. Her doctor later acknowledged that her long-term exposure to radiation, even at low doses, may have been the trigger. What started as prevention ended in trauma. So what's the smarter, safer option for people over 70? Experts suggest prioritizing proven bone-strengthening habits, like strength training, weight-bearing exercises, a diet rich in calcium and vitamin D, and targeted checkups only when there's a real medical reason. Are you truly protecting your body or slowly exposing it to harm without even realizing? 4. Brain MRI. Brain MRIs have become a kind of catch-all screening in America, offered up as a high-tech way to stay ahead of memory loss or Alzheimer's. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of these scans show harmless age-related changes that end up causing panic, not clarity. Meet James, a 74-year-old retired school principal from Des Moines. His doctor casually recommended a preventive MRI. The scan came back with a few minor white matter spots, normal for someone his age. But James didn't know that. What he heard was, "You're losing your mind." He spiraled. Insomnia, anxiety, depression, it all followed. Months of specialists, second opinions, and sleepless nights later, he learned the truth. His scan showed nothing clinically meaningful. The MRI didn't catch a disease, it created one. Unless there are strong, clear symptoms, like memory changes that disrupt daily life, most seniors are better off skipping routine brain imaging. Instead, neurologists recommend regular cognitive check-ins with experienced doctors, staying attentive to real changes, not chasing ghosts on a screen. So ask yourself, is it worth losing your peace of mind over a scan that tells you nothing at all? 3. Cardiac stress test. The treadmill stress test is a standard go-to in cardiology. It's widely used to detect potential heart issues, and for younger adults, it can be helpful. But for people over 70, it may be more harmful than helpful. The problem lies in false positives, test results that suggest something is wrong when in fact everything is fine. These misleading results often lead to a chain of invasive and risky follow-up procedures that might never have been needed. Take Richard, 76, from Asheville, North Carolina. He was active, walked his dog daily, ate clean, lived well. His doctor recommended a routine stress test just to be safe. The result? abnormal. What followed was a cascade, multiple additional tests, including an invasive heart catheterization. During the procedure, Richard suffered a serious arterial injury. Days later, he was in the ICU fighting to recover from a test he never really needed. Clinical research is clear. For symptom-free seniors, stress tests rarely deliver real benefits. What they often create is fear, unnecessary surgeries, and a distorted perception of fragility. Safer, smarter alternatives? Track real-world symptoms, regular cardiology visits, basic blood tests that detect inflammation or early heart risk markers without putting your body through a stress gauntlet. So before you schedule your next test, ask yourself, are you looking for prevention or setting yourself up for a new problem? 2. Colonoscopy. In the US, colonoscopies are practically a rite of passage once you hit 50, but after age 70, especially past 75, that gold standard starts to tarnish. Most people don't realize that the risks of colonoscopy increase sharply with age. Intestinal perforation, bleeding, and serious complications from anesthesia are far more likely in older adults. And the benefits? They don't increase with age. In fact, they drop significantly. Take Clara, 79, from Sacramento. She was diligent about her health, followed every screening guideline by the book. Her doctor ordered a routine colonoscopy. During the procedure, her colon was perforated. Emergency surgery followed. What was supposed to be routine became a nightmare. Weeks in the hospital, a major infection, emotional trauma, and a long road back to partial independence. Current medical guidelines in the US, including from the US Preventive Services Task Force, suggest that if you're over 75 and have no family history or warning signs, routine colonoscopy may no longer be appropriate. The better option? The FIT test, fecal immunochemical test. It's non-invasive, highly accurate, and checks for hidden blood in the stool, a strong early warning sign of colon cancer. No sedation, no scopes, no trauma. So, which would you rather choose? An exam that could compromise your well-being, or one that quietly protects it without putting your life on the line? 1. Full-body CT scan. The promise sounds irresistible, a complete body scan that can catch everything early before it's too late. But this high-tech dream can quickly turn into a real-life nightmare, especially if you're over 70. A full-body CT scan blasts you with an enormous dose of radiation. Just one scan can expose your body to the equivalent of 500 chest X-rays. That's not an exaggeration. And for older adults, whose DNA repair mechanisms are naturally less efficient, this kind of exposure can substantially raise the risk of developing cancer. Let's talk about Nancy, age 73, from Pittsburgh. After seeing an ad online promoting full-body scans as a preventive must-have, she scheduled one without a specific reason. The scan revealed a tiny nodule in her lung. Panic set in. Biopsies, hospital stays, consultations, and months of fear followed, only to learn later that the nodule was benign and completely insignificant. But the damage had already been done. Nancy's emotional and physical health never fully recovered. Full-body CT scans may sound like the ultimate peace of mind checkup, especially as we get older. But serious physicians and major medical organizations across the US, including the American College of Radiology, are sounding the alarm. Routine full-body scans should be avoided, especially in older adults. They should only be performed when there's a clear symptom or a strong clinical suspicion. This isn't about ignoring prevention, it's about avoiding diagnostic paranoia. There's a massive difference between taking care of your health and chasing reassurance through radiation. The modern checkup trap. Picture this. A healthy, symptom-free person walks into their doctor's office just to play it safe. They leave with a list of expensive, invasive, and radiation-heavy tests. A few days later, the reports start trickling in with words like non-specific finding, suspicious lesion. Image requires follow-up. Their heart races. sleep disappears. What began as a routine checkup has now become a spiral of fear and uncertainty. This is the silent cycle that's becoming dangerously common, especially for adults over 70. And the scariest part? Most people in that cycle believe they're taking better care of themselves than ever. A system built for protocols, not people. Here's a hard truth that few say out loud. The annual physical, the routine checkup, it wasn't designed to protect you. It was designed to standardize care, often based on convenience or outdated system incentives. From a psychological perspective, something deeper is at play. Our primal fear of death, our deep need for control. We crave certainty. We want to hear, everything's fine, even when we feel fine. But that comfort, it's often temporary and misleading. The diagnostic snowball, and that's why so many older Americans agree to advanced testing, even when they feel perfectly healthy. The promise is comforting. The more you test, the safer you'll be. But evidence-based medicine tells another story. Over-testing often leads to false positives, unnecessary surgeries, life-altering stress, and sometimes irreversible harm. There's even a term for it. The diagnostic cascade. It starts small, maybe a routine ultrasound or CT scan. A tiny shadow appears, something that's likely been there for decades, doing absolutely nothing, but now it has a name. And your doctor, fearing liability, or out of caution, orders another scan, then a biopsy, then maybe surgery. Before you know it, you're in a hospital bed, recovering from something that was never a threat to begin with. Sound familiar? Have you ever known someone who discovered a small lump or spot on a scan, and within months went through a battery of exams, lost weight from stress, stopped sleeping, and fell into depression, only to be told in the end it was nothing? That's no longer the exception, it's becoming the norm. And older adults are the most vulnerable, simply because aging bodies naturally show more incidental findings. We've been sold a lie. Modern medicine sold us the dream. Technology will catch everything early. But the human body isn't a machine. It's messy, variable, full of harmless irregularities. And not everything that's detected needs treatment, another psychological trap. Uncertainty aversion. Our brains would rather get a scary diagnosis than live in the unknown. That's why, even when a test leaves us with more questions than answers, we still feel like we did the right thing. But real security doesn't come from doing every test possible. It comes from doing the right test at the right time, guided by a doctor who actually knows your story. How to protect your health without falling into this trap. The solution isn't fear. It's conscious, personalized medicine. It means seeking out doctors who don't see you as a protocol number, but as a full human being. Doctors who listen to your story, your symptoms, your lifestyle, your goals. This isn't about avoiding tests out of paranoia. It's about avoiding the tests that can turn healthy people into lifelong patients. So before agreeing to any exam, ask yourself a simple question. What would this test actually change in my life today? If the answer is nothing, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to pause. The one test no one talks about, but everyone over 70 should ask for. Want a test that truly matters for your health after 70? A functional assessment. It's simple. No needles, no radiation, no anxiety. It evaluates muscle strength, balance, reaction time, cognitive function, all in real time, right in your doctor's office. And it tells you far more about your health and independence than any CT scan ever could. It's the kind of test that can prevent falls, reduce hospitalizations, prolong your autonomy, and genuinely improve your quality of life. No scalpels, no side effects, no fear. Final words. You've made it this far, that already says something powerful about you. In a world where fear sells and misinformation spreads like wildfire, where tests are sold as magic solutions, and where being cautious gets mistaken for being healthy, you chose something else. Clarity, knowledge, balance. Because after 70, too much caution can be just as dangerous as neglect. Now think about this for a second. How many times have you had a medical test just to be safe, only to leave with more confusion than clarity? How often did you wait days, maybe weeks, for results that did nothing but ramp up your anxiety? And worse, how many times did those results lead nowhere? Or trigger treatments you didn't even need? Modern medicine has done extraordinary things. But when it starts acting like an industry, it stops being science. It becomes routine, a checklist, fear packaged in a white coat. You're more in control than you think. One of the most terrifying feelings a human can face is the sense of losing control over their own body. It's a primal fear hardwired into us. And that's exactly why it's so easy to sell tests and promises under the label of early detection. But here's a secret no one's telling you. You have more control than you think. You can, and absolutely should, ask questions. You have every right to look your doctor in the eye and say, how will this test change my treatment? What are the actual risks and benefits for someone my age with my history? These simple questions can prevent unnecessary surgeries, avoid vague or scary diagnoses, and most importantly, protect your peace of mind, because that's what's at stake. Not just your health, but your autonomy, your freedom, your sense of safety in your own skin. The real checkup. No one offers you. Have you ever been offered a checkup for your emotions? A test for your anxiety, your fear of aging, your relationship with mortality? No, yet that's exactly what fuels the obsession with testing. It's not symptoms, it's fear. Real, responsible medicine looks beyond numbers. It doesn't reduce you to a blurry scan or a blood panel. It sees the full picture, your habits, your family, your mental well-being, your story. Why we brag about getting all the tests. Ever noticed how people love saying, I did all my checkups, full workup, head to toe? It's like a badge of honor, a symbol of being responsible. But now you know the truth. Doing all the tests isn't always a sign of wisdom. Sometimes it's just a sign of unresolved fear or lack of real information. The power of knowing what not to do. There's a quiet, liberating kind of wisdom in knowing what not to do. It's rare. Because it doesn't sell, because it requires thought, because it swims against the current. But it gives you something priceless, agency. It puts you back in charge of your body, your choices, your path. And that changes everything. How you sleep, how you make decisions, how you talk about your future. You don't have to play the fear-based prevention game anymore. You can choose something better. Clarity-based prevention, personalized care, peace, not panic. Sharing is caring, literally. If this message struck a chord with you, then you now carry a real responsibility. Someone in your circle, maybe a friend, maybe your sister, maybe your neighbor, is about to undergo an unnecessary, risky test simply because they didn't know better. Share this video. Tag that person who's obsessed with checkups but never stops to ask why. Drop this in the family group chat. And if you've been through something like this, tell your story in the comments. Your voice might be what saves someone else. One last question that might redefine how you age. Do you want to grow older with more tests or with more autonomy? That one question might determine not just the kind of health you'll have, but the kind of life you'll get to live. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. This is one of the few spaces online where you'll hear real talk, no fluff, no magic pills, no scare tactics, no hidden agendas, just real, honest information, delivered with clarity and courage. We'll see you in the next video, because aging well isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what truly matters